Ed Byrne, it's 5 minutes.
Okie dokie.
What do you think of the clock?
It's very. I love the fact that you have to start it by putting the battery in it. That's pretty high tech for the BBC website, don't you think?
4,
2, 1.
In a nutshell, how did you become a comedian?
I didn't do it in a nutshell. It's very hard to perform comedy in a nutshell. Atmosphere is very important. I find theatres to be far better places to do it. I started off in comedy by running a comedy night, a comedy club in a pub I used to drink in Glasgow.
Do you think that your style has changed over the years?
Yes, I would say it has become less observational, i.e., have you ever noticed, and more anecdotal, i.e., here's a funny thing that happened when I was at my brother's birthday party.
How do you come up with your material? Do you sit down and say, I'm going to be funny?
No, it generally just sort of an idea will sort of come into your head and you'll think about it for quite some time. Sometimes it can be something that happened years ago. There's a story in this tour show of a thing that happened to me 10, 11 years ago, and it'll just ferment in your brain, and then like compost, eventually it'll just become something useful.
Do you change your routine according to what audience you're in front of?
Not massively, to be honest with you. There's bits you'll drop. Sometimes if you feel that an audience is smarter than another audience, you'll do other stuff that's maybe, you'll go, okay, this will work here. And in other audiences, you'll go, oh, you know what, I don't think this bit's going to particularly fly, so you'll drop it. But you're really only varying it 5 minutes here and there, a little bit here and there that you think this won't work or this will work.
How many nights might you do on a tour?
About 140 if you include the Edinburgh Fringe. Yeah.
Is that exhausting?
It is a bit, yeah, but you know, no one wants to hear a comedian belly aching, you know. In times when public sector workers are striking because of bad pensions, no one wants to hear some guy who works for 2 hours a night going, oh, being on the road is exhausting.
When you're working out what to say, do you have a sort of offence barometer? How do you work out what you're prepared to say and what you're not prepared to say?
My offensiveness barometer is based on what I can stand by personally, whether or not I can actually personally justify saying the thing that I said without just having to go, I was only joking. So that actually makes it very difficult to do anything particularly offensive. I don't really do anything hugely offensive in that manner.
How would you describe your style of comedy?
I would say it's, you know, as I say, it's a mixture of the anecdotal and the observational. It's a man telling you genuinely what he thinks about things and genuinely the things that have happened to him in his life.
And do you like to move about the stage?
You're just desperate for questions now. Did you not think did you not think that 5 minutes was going to be this long? They were now like, am I answering these questions too quickly?
What I mean is,
do I move about the stage?
Are you quite a physical comedian?
Not hugely, no. I'm not really into that style of comedy, that thing of...
I've seen you marching up and down.
I'll do a little bit, there'll be a bit, but it's that thing of saying, I'm more of a talker than anything else. I think that thing of, you know, making an observation and then acting the whole thing out. I do it a little bit, but not a huge amount. In fact, sometimes, particularly early on in my career, I found myself actively thinking to myself, do you know what, I haven't moved a muscle since I got on stage. I think I better just walk to the left and walk to the right for a bit.
Do you prefer smaller venues or bigger venues?
I prefer venues around about the sort of 1,000, 1,500 marker. Although, having said that, the Hammersmith Apollo is like 3,800, and that's actually a really, really nice venue. But anything above that, and there's a lot of venues that are slightly smaller than that feel quite cold.
When you're walking out in front of an auditorium, what's going through your mind?
That I'm here too early. I think
that's because there's no one here yet.
Yeah.
But seriously, are there nerves?
Really, if I could sum it up, it would be, let's go, let's do this. That's the sort of feeling here. It's not a nervousness, it's not an apprehensiveness, it's just, all right, come on, let's go, sort of thing.
How would you describe yourself in a sentence or two?
Describe myself? Probably not as nice a bloke as I like to think I am, but then I like to think I'm a very, very nice bloke. So I'm probably quite a nice bloke.
Were you a performer growing up?
Was I a performer growing up? I kind of, you know, I wasn't, to be honest with you, I wasn't even the funniest person in my family, but I did have the sort of middle child syndrome.
Who was the funniest person in your family?
My older brother was probably the funniest one, yeah, and still is.
Did you go to university?
I did for a little bit. I studied horticulture for about 6 months, and still managed to stay enrolled in the course till about, till the end of second year, and then I finally just chucked it in.
Where did you do that?
Strathclyde University in Glasgow.
Are you a gardener?
No, I am not a gardener. I have a very large garden, and I have a gardener.
Tell me about your outdoor pursuits, because you've done a lot of climbing and you've climbed quite a few Scottish mountains.
I've done a lot of that. Well, I tell you, people who are really into the climbing, as in like, you know, the cams and the logs and all that, and proper rock climbing, they do not like people like myself to refer to the manner in which I get up mountains as climbing. I walk up mountains by and large.
How many Munros have you climbed?
75.
And you've climbed Mont Blanc?
And Mont Blanc as well, yeah. So I've done a few.
And that is 5 minutes.
There we go. We finished on one of my triumphs over nature.
And now we're going to let you get on and perform in front of, we hope, more people than are here at the moment.
Marginally anyway.
Good to see you.
No worries.